So I just spent weeks working on a video that was tangentially related to Saab. Can you imagine my shock when the day after I post it, news comes out about the former Saab factory? Of course. Why not? So, yes, I'm sorry if this is the first you're hearing of it, but the former Saab factory in Trollhättan has gone into hibernation. Of 340 workers at the factory, 320 have been laid off. My thoughts go out to these workers. Fortunately, Sweden has incredibly strong labour laws, so hopefully they should be equitably compensated. But besides that, the factory itself, and therefore the legacy of Saab, is in jeopardy. So, how did we get to this point, and where is the factory going to go from here? Firstly, the factory is owned by NEVS, National Electric Vehicle Sweden. NEVS is in very deep trouble. I mean, 340 workers is already a skeleton crew for a factory the size of the Trollhättan assembly. NEVS is owned by the China Evergrande group. They've been trying to get into car manufacturing since 2019. Since then, they've acquired majority stakes in NEVS and Faraday Future and have established their own brand, Hengqi. These endeavours have not been very successful for Evergrande because they have not managed to get any NEVS cars to market, and between December and July of 2022, only sold 324 Hengqi Model 5s. So who is Evergrande and why are they struggling so much? Well, Evergrande is a real estate company. They were formed in 1996, and by 2018, were the most valuable real estate corporation in the world. Not just China, not just Asia, the world. They're 122nd on the global Fortune 500, have total assets worth $306 billion, a revenue in 2020 of $77 billion, and a total net income in 2020 of $1.2 billion. They are colossal, and in deep, deep trouble. In 2020, China introduced new debt regulations known as the Three Red Lines. These new regulations meant that Evergrande had to pay more payments on its debt. We don't know how much this debt was worth at the time. This is the upper echelons of Chinese economic bureaucracy we're talking about here. What we do know was it was in the hundreds of billions of dollars. Evergrande was not able to make these payments and started a crisis in the entire Chinese property sector. At the end of 2021, the Chinese government intervened and restructured the company. However, even by April of 2022, Reuters reported that Evergrande still held approximately $300 billion in debt. More immediately related to the story at hand, there's a court deadline on March 20th in which Evergrande must meet with creditors. This is a date Evergrande wants adjourned. Both these stories came out pretty much the exact same time, so where is the Saab factory's place in all of this? Well, the previous CEO of NEVS, Stefan Tilk, tried to sell NEVS to an undisclosed buyer in January, possibly the Xiaomi consortium who had been in talks to buy all of Evergrande's automotive division in late 2021. Just before the deal was finalized, Evergrande told him to stop. Tilk responded saying that he had to save the company as its CEO and refused to back down, at which point he was fired. So what can we take from this? Firstly, Tilk doesn't think the future is very bright for NEVS under Evergrande. Secondly, Evergrande really wants to keep NEVS. My best guess is for collateral in any future restructuring process. If that is the case, then there's any number of things that could happen to the factory. I must point out that anything beyond this point is rampant speculation, but speculation can be informed, I guess? Best case scenario, it gets sold on to someone else who is able to put it to good use. Option 1, Koenigsegg. They wanted to get their hands on Saab when GM first announced the sale back in 2009. NEVS even owned a 20% stake in Koenigsegg a few years ago, which Koenigsegg then bought back. They'd need backing though, and who would? Possibly a different Chinese manufacturer? Maybe an investment group of some kind? Who knows? Option 2, a different group outright buys the factory without Koenigsegg. If this magical other group is a manufacturer, it would almost certainly be a Chinese one. Even if it's an investment group of some kind, chances are it'll be a Chinese one. I've still got my money on the Xiaomi consortium. Either way, whoever buys the factory needs to be a group that's willing to spend more money afterwards to completely retool a factory that hasn't produced anything in almost 10 years. And if that buyer can't be found, well, then the worst happens. Like I said, nothing right now is certain, and much of it depends on whether Evergrande can get itself out of the hole it dug for itself or not, or whether anyone has any interest in buying a factory that hasn't produced anything in nearly a decade, and would likely need heavy investment. The story is still ongoing. I'll try and keep up with it and keep you guys posted. Binman out.